Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. If you caught the semifinals commentary for the content creator battle, I made it and obviously uploaded on YouTube. So if you were watching that series and you're watching this for the finals, this is my commentary on my fight versus dZanderr. dZanderr is an insanely strong opponent. The context behind this is that for Samu Gamer during the semifinals, I actually had a whole week to study him. Samu obviously streams World Arena, so plug to Samu there, and dZanderr also streams Epic 7 as well, also predominantly World Arena. Both of these players are really strong. I had the benefit of studying Samu Gamer, his favorites, his builds. dZanderr, I didn't have the time. For semifinals to finals, it was literally 24 hours away. So it was very difficult. I was very anxious about fighting dZanderr. Again, he has like thousands of games under his belt every season. I hardly scratch the surface in World Arena per season. This season I'm probably playing a way more in preparation for the tournament, but also just enjoying Epic 7 as a whole. But yeah, so anyways, this is the finals, and I don't think I need to hide it. The tournament, we won. So Team Boomers consisted of Elvemage, the team captain, myself, and Shotgun Shogun. Shotgun Shogun being the opener of our team, and Shotgun Shogun did super well as well. Just like clean sweeps. Elvemage cleaned up, and then my fights were important for my own growth. So obviously it meant a lot. If you guys watched the previous video on the semifinals commentary, I'm gonna say this as well here. Elvemage did a crazy job at coaching me. He taught me a lot, and you know, I'm plugging every streamer right now. Watch Elvemage play World Arena. He speaks his mind when he's choosing. He asks his stream chat, you know, what's good here, you know, and he interacts with like the theory craft. So if you want to see a master theory crafter, in terms of like just drafting, I would watch Elvemage. I think he's probably one of the best coaches, and honestly, his stream persona versus his coaching persona, it could be slightly different. He's a really nice guy, but his coaching persona is actually insane. Like it's like he's super cracked. Like I don't know how he retains all the theory crafts in his head, but we practiced. He mimicked dZanderr, my opponent for this video. He mimicked his teams and got me to draft accordingly, to like play around it, and then, you know, teaching like what to ban and stuff. So within 24 hours, I think the results show for itself. So again, big shout out to Elvemage and Shogun. These guys put a lot of time into me actually, to really try to help me, because I'm clearly the weakest player on our team, and I think for most of the Epic 7 community in general, because I don't play a lot of RTA. I'm not like super like my exposure for RTA is not really clear. So I think that may have been a benefit against my opponents as well. They may have not really known about me or what my gear is like and all that. Either way, long story short, hope you guys enjoyed the commentary just like you did for the semifinals, and I'll catch you guys later. Alright, so going into dZanderr, this is the finals. When it was announced that the Three Musketeers were the winners, I was very behind. So for Samu Gamer, I had a whole week that I could train and study him. For dZanderr, I actually I felt that I was gonna lose anyway. But at this point, Shotgun Shogun, who was the opener of our team, he got the win, so I had a less of a pressure. I was pretty confident that Elvemage would take the win. So like if I had lost mine, like I think we still would have won. So obviously I was a bit less nervous because of that, but because of also like the amount of game time dZanderr has in terms of World Arena as a whole, like all seasons combined, I'm very underexperienced compared to him. So when I was fighting him, I was very scared. Like I was very nervous, and again, like I said, I didn't have the time. From semifinals to finals, I'd only had 24 hours to do any adjustments. And I will say though, I did my best versus dZanderr. I looked him up, I researched him a bit, and I'll tell you when that research pays off. All right. So I did a couple of things that I felt I was pretty proud of, and a couple of things I felt that I wasn't really proud of. Anyways, so he goes with DN ML Cowrick. He got double cleansers. I went with AOL there because I didn't want the DN with AOL. But he has double cleansers, so his draft is pretty solid right now. He has a guaranteed attack buffer. And Rimuru, like I know he plays Rimuru a lot, and he also does play Hua Yang, but I hate dealing with Hua Yang, so I banned her first. Rimuru in this entire like matchup, I should have banned him way earlier, because this Rimuru is actually pretty cracked. I won't say his stats here. I'll only say that I'll plug Xander. If you want to see his stats, I'm pretty sure he'll show it to you when you go to his stream.
Because his Rimuru is still gonna prove a problem when he goes, especially.
So A-Raz with Landy into Rimuru is actually pretty safe. I was mentioning A-Raz's buff is pretty strong in the semifinals commentary versus Samu Gamer. But A-Raz with Landy is actually pretty strong.
This is actually pretty tough. Okay, that's good. LQC is good. What's again though?
LQC here, really good. He's got push, he's got an attack buffer, and then he has a force ban. So the Milim definitely has to go out here. And I think he definitely feels like he has an advantage, right? Because if he leaves the Landy in, even though he has 2 buffers, he can potentially kill with the Rimuru. I think that's his thought process, and then the splash damage from LQC. So on my side, unfortunately, I don't usually like to draft like this. I don't like to be cornered where I have only 2 DPS and like 3 support. But fortunately, he actually banned my support. The commentary, they were saying that why did he ban AOL? Because he had 2 cleansers, and I kind of agree, except the fact that most DNs are not high ER. So really, the only cleanse he had was ML Cowrick, and I guess he did not want the Rimuru to get, like, you know, waste his first turn. So I think that's the reasoning behind it, but AOL is kind of a dead pick there. Because he would have 2 sources of cleanse when DN gets her second turn, assuming she doesn't get silenced, and then he doesn't have AOE to trigger my skill null. I believe that's what the commentators are saying, and I'm just really happy, obviously for my sake, that I wasn't you know, I didn't have the AOL. Like AOL was the ban. It gave me at least 2 DPS, right? So the Ruel here is really good, only if you have a very, very strong DPS carry. The issue with, like, if he had banned the Landy, I don't think I would win this, because the A-Ravi would not have enough momentum for this team to kill through the entire team. Like, I'm pretty sure LQC and Rimuru would have gotten their S3s back again, even if I Ruel revived. So
because the guiding light triggers after. So that was almost a dead Ruel. I think she can S2 herself and she's safe.
But it was fortunate that the heroes I had were the ones.
Yes, we get some
the defense buff doesn't matter here, but the defense, I do believe the defense buff does mitigate some of that splash damage, if I remember correctly. I don't remember actually how LQC works that way, but I think it does. So no matter what, I just thought like, oh, defense buff, whatever, right? I have the turn, just defense buff it. With a death break, there's no way I'm surviving that. Without the death break though, I would have survived. But even then, not by much. A couple pokes here and there from the Rimuru and the LQC, I would have died there. But the barrier from A-Raz's backline mechanic really popped off, right? Because I'm still in Guiding Light, and the Landy looks pretty healthy.
Even with all these, like, all this Landy.
The good thing is that, like, Landy's speed buff with A-Raz is also really good for his turn cycling. He really needs that speed buff, especially right now. A-Raz's gear score is actually a way higher requirement than it was in previous seasons, in my opinion. Most people are building with some ER, and we're talking about like 100 plus. And then you still need the HP. I try to be 25,000. Mine's not. And then, you know, some defense for himself, and then you want some effectiveness as well. I am on a crystal artifact because I did ham on the Amelia banner as she returned. I'm at triple S Amelia, and I did get a max crystal, which is on Amelia herself, and then I think plus 24 on the Ruel, which was really good here, as you can see. With the speed buff on Ruel, and then the frenzy change for Soul Weavers in general, Ruel cycles pretty well here. My Ruel, I think, is at 210 speed or something like that, so you're looking at a 225 speed Ruel, right? And then with the speed buff, it's just cycling pretty fast. That crystal is really popping off. So the interesting thing about the LQC kill here is that compared to, I think, Samu's LQC, I think Xander's LQC is higher damage, less bulk, I think, based on the amount of damage I did on the S1. Because she has her own mitigation as well, so doing 6000 S1 damage, I don't know, it like maybe has higher damage. I know that Xander plays very aggro, so he usually plays like very high damage. The Landy was still pretty lucky though. She was like, you know, in guiding light the entire time. So my luck with Landy in the tournament as a whole has been pretty lucky, I think.
We got that huge Landy S3 and the Arabi doing a lot to finish off.
The next two fights, if you guys watch this live, I'll tell you my thinking process behind it. I made some mistakes, for sure. But yeah, here comes the second one.
He knew that once the LQC and once the what is this? What was the other DPS? My brain right now.
You're talking about
the Rimuru. Sorry. So once the Rimuru and once the LQC went and did all their burst damage, he had nothing left in the tank.
I think Xander could have banned better because he had all single target TPS with the cleanser.
Yeah, I think at the moment the commentators are saying that Xander's ban was the misplay. If Landy was banned and AOL was left, there was no way that AOL did anything. So again, like my advice again, if you're kind of a newer player, don't draft too much support. I honestly, the Ruel pick should have been, assuming he banned correctly, it should have been a way to deal with Rimuru and LQC. Like it should have been a damage dealer. I don't know what that is. To be honest, I really don't. But the Ruel pick was a big gamble on my side. It was fortunate that it wasn't banned, so he left both DPS. So from here on out, because I knew that was a really big gap, I try not to make that mistake again.
Wait, yeah, he pre-banned the Charles. He knows that is.
Oh yeah, so here I pre-banned his MO Charles. I know he's an MO Charles player. During the quarterfinals, oh no, during the semifinals when Three Musketeers were playing, I was watching him. He uses MO Charles pretty comfortably. Like if I pick hand guy A Robbie, he can swing into an MO Charles here, and I just didn't want to deal with it. Even though Elvemage and myself, like Elvemage was coaching me specifically on how to counter his MO Charles pivot, I still felt like I didn't want to deal with it. His MO Charles is insane. I was saying this on the stream after the tournament for people that were watching, that his MO Charles is insane. It's probably one of the best MO Charles I've ever seen so far. It had really fast speed and it had really good damage. Like I think if the gear had more speed in it, he could probably put that on a Pavel and have like one of the strongest Pavels in the game. But if you're wondering about his stats, I was asked about this on stream. It's like, oh, do you know his stats? I said it's not my place to say it. So again, once again, I'm gonna just plug Xander and say that if you want to know his gears stuff, like join his community or talk to him on his stream or something. But it is one of the best heroes, so I had to pre-ban it. Pre-banning that comfort pick was really good for me because it forces him to have to play at my speed, right? I'm not saying that his DN is slow. His DN is also really fast. So, but just getting rid of the Charles allowed him to stick with only one pusher, right? So my comfort level is definitely, as you can see, my playstyle is definitely kind of like a more bruiser standard, what we could say standard draft.
Because that was very clutch. That barrier saved the Landy and kept her alive to keep.
So again, the A-Ras and Landy proved to work, right? So at this point, like obviously because we're in a tournament setting, he can't switch his gear. So I know that Landy with A-Ras, like Rimuru can't kill Landy, right? And the other thing was that, you know, even though his Rimuru is high damage, the other thing was like my Landy was built to tank one Rimuru S2. But if he had attack buff, it would have been a different story. So realistically, because he has DN, it's a risk no matter what. So I have, this is a better draft on my side compared to the previous one. I have my carry DPS a Ravi. I got the support cleanse with attack buff. I have a defense buffer mitigation with a Ras, and then I have another DPS, right? He has 2 slots left and I have last pick. So last pick being mine is very beneficial here. And this is why he's thinking so long. There's always going to be arguments on who has more advantage, last pick or first pick. And it's a toss up depending on the player. I personally like last pick over first pick. I feel like first pick allows me to counter draft better because usually in the first pick you could tell what type of player they are, and then last pick is honestly it could be the win condition. That's my opinion. But I know a lot of people love first pick.
Really nice, especially with the
it is also helpful though on ladder when you see people, like when you see the first pick sign and you know your first pick, it's also really helpful too because your pre-bans can totally shift, right?
I think that is the right ban. Get rid of the Milim so we stop the...
So here I think I made a pretty big mistake. I think
and then for the Landy, I guess
Solitaria here is too passive, but I had to ban the Milim. So the Solitaria here is really like DN is not a consistent cleanse for Solitaria, and outside of the Kisei having 1 S2 once in a while, there's really no reach for the Solitaria. So in function, she functions kind of like a Spectenny, right? Because she got that stealth, but then she's not as squishy as Spectenny, and then she has like, you know, more. He has technically 2 squishy heroes, right? So well, maybe not Rimuru as much. But my thought process was like, you know, it should be fine, right? It should be fine. I definitely misplay here, and also there's an issue later I'll bring up. Oh yeah, there's no way that she's stripping my immunity. That was not a resist check. Mine's on immunity, but with ER. So it wouldn't have gotten stripped anyway.
Oh, and he gets stunned. Okay.
But he's still keeping his buffs, at least hopefully protecting him from any more incoming damage.
Now we just have to wait for the DN to make her turn, cleanse the Rimuru, and see if he can nuke somebody out of here. That Solitaria is in stealth, so I'm not sure.
The Solitaria having the barrier here is very helpful, because she only gets the barrier under S3. But I do have ML Kawarik's barrier on the next turn.
To keep that Solitaria alive with the potential.
Kisei is very scary though. Like you don't want her alive for long, especially into a bruiser fight and a ton of buffers. So his Rimru's on Crimson Seed, which is kind of annoying. The only benefit I got there was honestly just to strip the attack buff, but it was still really bad for me. The Crimson Seed on the Rimuru was a surprising one. That's not usually a one that he runs, but I think he relies on that Rimuru S3. So I guess he really wants to make sure he gets the turn when he can.
So what does Rimuru want to do here? Do we steal
the defense buff and the barrier and the mitigation really kept that Solitaria in the game. Because Solitaria is the only reach for the Kisei. Assuming that it was on Wind Rider, but it turned out it wasn't on Wind Rider. So either way, getting rid of the A-Ras I think is the better play. Getting rid of ML Kawarik would have been not as good because A-Ras would have kept on absorbing with Aureus. So it's very hard to reach that Kisei, especially if I don't have the right debuffs.
Now we got blinds on the 2 DPS. This is gonna be really tough. It's a 50-50.
This. So you see that dual attack was with Solitaria, right? Both are attack buffed. But let me tell you why. Solitaria's base attack is higher than A-Ravi. I double checked after the tournament why she was always the dual attack, right? I'm like, oh, do I have too much like attack in my substats? I don't. The fact is that they, my A-Ravi and my Solitaria have the same amount of attack substats, but Solitaria has higher base attack. So that was very unfortunate. It almost makes me it almost makes me want to find a bit more attack on my A-Ravi. My A-Ravi is like very emphasized on the right stats. Like I'm putting that in air quotes because arguably people would say that, well, attack is better because as Frenzy goes up, she gets more value because HP is dropping. In this case, I actually want more attack on my A-Ravi. Yeah, man, it was triggering. It was the, if my A-Ravi was the highest attack and it consistently with the Ras S2, I would have won this easily. And that's not because of Solitaria. Like in terms of like, it wasn't Solitaria's like, you know, carrying it. It would literally have been the right plays. I'll call out the plays. So the first dual attack there, Rimuru would have died, right? If the dual attack was with a Ravi, she was attack buffed, so was Solitaria. If the dual attack, like Rimuru would have been dead here already. Getting that extra, like, you know, body to have to kill and then go through the anti-crit again, go through the barrier that he has with from FCC. It was, I was actually really pissed. I was actually really pissed at myself. At this point, I did not know. I just thought that maybe my Solitary had a lot of wasted attack stats, but no, it turns out after the tournament, you know, when I looked at it, I'm just like, frick. Her base attack is too high as a mage. A-Ravi's base attack is very low compared. I think it's not even 1,000, but Solitary has like 1,100 or something like that, if I remember correctly. Like very early on, a lot of people were saying that Solitaria could be built damage, right? Because of the constant AoE. I've seen Solitaria been built crit too. But I use her as a disabler more than a DPS. Her mods are actually pretty decent too. So if you build her like with attack and crit damage and stuff like that, she can do some work. She could do her work for sure, and she's still in stealth. So that's a play with Solitaria. It wouldn't have worked in his Kisei's point of view though, because if I was a DPS Solitaria, I would have died turn 1.
Yeah, he ends up just using his S3 here.
I had to rip this, so I was looking at the Kisei, she had her turn, right? This is too risky, I had to do it. I'm glad it did kill. So look at this, this is the second thing. I have another S2, right? So look at this. If it was a Ravi, way better chance, especially if we got the crit. I don't think the commentators actually caught on that Solitary was the dual attack. Again, there was nothing I could do. Both were attack buff. If Solitary had shaken off the attack buff, a Ravi would have got the dual attack. That was the win right there. Like, it would have been the win. And that was what I was pretty disappointed about with this fight. So, at least until I can get my A-Ravi with higher attack, which I'm not even sure if I want to chase it, I will have to make sure I don't bring A-Ras with Solitaria and A-Ravi. I have to basically, that will be my workaround. Yeah, at this point it looked pretty doomed. Like, Kisei is in her stealth. I was obviously praying with the what do you call it? With the Solitaria getting a stun, you know, would have been huge. But it had Gab. I wouldn't have won this. He still went for the S3 here. S2. In my opinion, I would have probably gone for the, I don't know, maybe the S1. Just kill the A-Ravi. But I guess he wanted to get rid of the Solitaria.
God, these dual attacks just being up. But with this Solitaria out of stealth being able to get targeted, not enough. It's not enough.
It didn't matter. At this point, there was no winning. With the DN and the Kisei, I don't think there was any way to win. Like, unless I got lucky with the stuns. Oh, also, I was called out here. I was misplayed. One of my viewers on stream after, he said I misplayed this. I was looking at the CR bar, right? And I'm thinking that, okay, the push was probably more beneficial, but the FCC had S3. So if I had S2'd, Solitary would have been popped out of the barrier, like popped out of stealth. But as you can see there, it didn't matter, right? Because Kisei would have got a turn here. Oh, I guess it would have mattered. It would have mattered. I think if Solitary got a turn in without dying, then maybe I could have stunned her. But it was very close. Again, I think I had a win condition, and that win condition was bad because Solitary's base attack is too high. Solitary's base attack is too high. Unfortunate. but because the buffs had been pretty new, so my interaction with A Robbie, solitary A Ras and stuff, I wasn't familiar about that, right? I didn't really think about that. Like you wouldn't assume that solitary would have the higher attack, right? But because the base stats are just way too high, it wasn't enough.
Was controlled for most of the match, and got nuked by the A Robbie very easily.
Yeah, and disappearing from the face of the earth eventually, but proving enough that Kise was able to output enough damage to pull this win through.
Man, this is really close. We got a 1 win for.
So this is this fight is the most embarrassing fight. If you watch this live, you'll know why it's funny, but I want to explain my actions. And it's hilarious. Actually, I was looking at the VOD, the official Epic 7 VOD. Actually, no, I'll commentate on it when we get there. I basically had to rewatch their VOD in order to capture the footage that I'm commentating on here. So again, A Robbie is pretty safe. If I can cleave, like if I had cleave gear, A Robbie's also still good first pick. She's good into almost everything right now. So he went with hand guy, right? Because DN is banned. Even though he banned Politis, which was kind of weird for me, but I guess I didn't care. I just needed the DN gone because his DN is also really good. The Rimuru is still available on his side, and I'm just like, yeah, maybe this is the next ban. I felt that his DN was pretty annoying to deal with.
Sometimes it works for him, sometimes it doesn't. It looked bad in that last match for Rimuru, but
I do believe I banned his Rimuru on the next fight though. But it would have been risky either way. Like I didn't want to lose, but I felt that because I had A Ras still, maybe Rimuru still wouldn't do that much. Rimuru wasn't the issue for this fight, it was another issue. The Amelia's okay, into Rimuru, not the best. But again, like I said before, like, you know, because like if I wanted to draft Landy, which I was kind of looking for it would have been okay. Or whoever I drafted with enough HP and enough damage, as long as A Ras is there, Rimuru won't be able to kill that backliner, no matter what DPS it was. That's my thought process for the Amelia into Rimuru there. The LQC still very solid because now I have to have a disabler. I don't have Fire Cowrick built, although I don't think he would really help this fight anyway.
Once again, from Jagan's side, from Zander's side, we're seeing a lot of single target attacks.
So I went with the Opsig. Opsig is a bit risky here, I will admit, but it's decent enough that it could be a force ban.
If that is a guiding light Opsig, she is definitely safe. Whether or not that
I think me flashing the green Celine here gave him an idea, but honestly, Zander's a very strong player, so he would have drafted the green Celine in the back here, which he will do here.
But yeah, so instead of seeing that, we are going to see the Landy being picked up here.
Opsig is also very risky because if he opted to ban the Amelia, Opsig is not killing anything if I left LQC in, right? Like at least maybe the Rimuru, but because you got the crit rate reduction from LQC's passive, and then you have the Aureus on FCC, so it would have been really hard to kill if he banned Amelia. So the Opsig is pretty risky, but this one was a bit yeah, I didn't know how he would ban, so I felt like Rimuru was the better one. I misplayed this. Okay, so here's what's going on. Before it even happens, I'll start commentating on the joke, okay? I did the right move. So there's a way to check if Green Celine is on the stealthy E, which means that when she does blink her S2, it hits a random target, or the highest attack EE, right? Most people run those two. There's a way to check it. I checked it. I knew it was the highest attack EE. The issue was, I always had a memory issue between remembering like, was it her S3 that ignored damage share, or was the S2? Alright, so, and the thing is though, even if I had like a bulky Landy, And even if it didn't ignore damage share, like Celine's are usually built really high damage, so I don't even know if my Landy would have like survived it. But I saw the comment. A lot of the comments, everyone was just like laughing, and then some people were saying that I was BMing him. I was not BMing him. I just did not remember what was the damage share skill. So here's what I thought, right? I was thinking, you know, Landy's been able to survive Rimuru with the A-Raw's barrier. Celine should be fine, right? So anyways, that was just a bad thing. Well, let me tell you guys this, that after this tournament, I will never forget whether Celine's damage share ignore is on the S2 or S3. I actually should have just yielded here. I didn't feel that there was any play I could do. I actually did yield preemptively. I think he strips the defense buff on the A-Ravi, and then S3. My A-Ravi doesn't die, but I yielded. I don't think there was any coming back though. Like I wouldn't have sustained it. There's just too much damage. And like with the A-Ravi, like unless I like ripped S3 into that Celine and gambled the 50-50, I don't think I would have won anyway, so it didn't really matter. Either way, I made a mistake and I'm just like, oh, that was so stupid. I'm pretty sure anyone watching would have just been like, that's like a bronze player play, man. No offense to bronze players, but I'm saying that was a very newbie play. Either way, from here on, I do believe that I don't lose. Yeah, I don't lose anymore because it's best out of 3. Oh, sorry, best out of 5. So if he wins 3, he wins, right? So he's 2 up. I am at 1. So I needed to win the next 2 games. So yeah, no pressure, easy peasy. Again, Xander is a very experienced player. From what I've been told, he has like thousands and thousands of games like at the end of every season. So like he is just like way more experienced than me. This season I probably played the most at the moment compared to all my other seasons. All my other seasons I just hit champ and I'm done, right? But with Emperor, you know, I am putting more games in. But the big thing was like I had my guild also coaching me, Iggy, and I had Vinny as well giving me some really good tips. Vinny's a really good player. And then of course Elvemage, spending the actual time. Elvemage, when he was coaching me, I'm gonna say this, as the commentary here is gonna be very stale on the game, but Elvemage, when he was coaching me, he was like, he was learning how the opponents were playing and he was playing like them. It's actually insane. I have to say, like, you know, you watch Elvemage on stream and you're just like, he's really good at drafting. He speaks out loud and commentates on his theory crafts. And you know that he knows what he's talking about, and often it works out, right? But when you're like, when I was being coached by him, it was a totally different story. He was like, he was still drafting well, so he didn't draft with like the opponent's mistakes at all. Like he was still drafting like himself in terms of all the counter picks were right, but he was also drafting the opponent's comfort picks. He's a master. He's a master for sure.
Like it's the first time that we're seeing him being drafted like kind of into a hole. Honestly, I wonder how.
Pillis here was actually not a good pick. I don't know why I even swapped it out. He had Rimuru, he had A-Ravi. A-Raz is the better knight at the moment. And I will say though, the Lionheart pick was also very bad. So something's happening on the stream here. I think the Korea side had issue, so the global side had to mask it. And then I think Mashu here actually brings up his emulator because Mashu was actually watching it. He was in the mock room with us. So I think he brings up his screen. It doesn't matter, we don't miss much. Fart Pancakes is like, what happened? We'll never know the draft. But Mashu was really quick to recover here for the global stream.
What are these picks? The world will never know.
They will never know, but don't worry guys, I got you on my end.
There you go. Good job, Mashu. Mashu's been really working his butt off. You can tell he's really tired. I don't know what the coordination is like with Korea, but it must be really hard.
On the Xander
Either way, I was commentating that my Lionheart Cermia was really stupid here because Rimuru was the only way that she procced, right? So I think like the Pillis pick and the Lionheart pick, I think my mental was not in the right place. And I think in this fight, I think Xander should have won actually. I don't know why he. I think he misplayed. I think I misdrafted, but he misplayed, which costed him the game. I have to say that I was probably more shaken than he was. So I went with a Milim here. Also a very, like, not the best option in my opinion. I think a Fire Charlotte would have been stronger, except Rimuru. Rimuru's annoying into Fire Charlotte. So Rimuru disables quite a lot of fire heroes, just because like he can one shot. So the Milim is not even in a much better place, to be honest. And obviously I have to ban last. This is how you should be drafting anyways. You should always consider the ban last unless their last pick was a mistake. So he did take out the Pillis, which is what I was really worried about. So like looking at this, right? I think it would be pretty easy to win versus me because as long as I don't have the evasion, like Rimuru would be able to kill Milim, like literally in one shot. I had no mitigation anymore. So I have to say, like, I don't know, I think some people say like hindsight is 20/20. I think for sure, but I think definitely in the moment, there was definitely a misplay that allowed me to get this one. The Crimson Seed really paying off there. That Crimson Seed on Rimuru actually annoying. He got the immunity buff as well for free. Not that it mattered, I guess, because I didn't really have a debuffer except Solitaria. Anyways, either way, I cannot risk the Solitaria to be knocked out, even though I do believe she gets knocked out here because Landy gets the full what do you call it? S3. Yeah, so Xander, I think the commentators are saying the same thing here. Xander had the upper hand. Like he had the upper hand. And I think he got freaked out by Lionheart, right? So Lionheart got triggered, and I'm thinking, I don't know what his thinking process was, but I think if I was him, the only way that he made that mistake was that, like, gotta kill that Lionheart because good big damage coming, right? But if you look at the speed tuning, he's fine, right? He has skill null on all heroes, and like, so my Lionheart wouldn't have really did anything on her turn. I think his time ran out. I don't think he would S3 here. It just didn't make any sense. I think his time ran out. Looking at his facial reaction, I don't know if it was a mistake or not though. But now everyone fully death broken. Everything went into the Lionheart, which was a mistake, right? Because even if you allowed my Lionheart to get this turn, I did no damage here. And like, the Solitaria I think was the bigger risk, right? Even though like Milim would reveal the Landy, but Solitaria slows down their tempo. Assuming I get a stun, assuming I get a couple debuffs, like either an unbuffable, blind, attack down, like any of those would have slowed down his team's momentum, right? So it was very, very surprising. I think the commentators are saying the same thing. I honestly say I lucked out. I don't know what kind of miracle happened here, but I definitely lucked out. I lucked out because of a misplay. I had the worst draft. I had the losing draft. He had the right draft. So this, like I said, like allowing Solitaria to live, it slows down his tempo because of all that, right? We got to speed down, we got to stun on the Landy, nothing on the Aravi, but it didn't matter. But he still wanted to go for the Lionheart. So I don't know what happened here. Like I would have started shifting my damage, right? Because like I said, like Lionheart's not gonna do anything. I have no way to get another defense buff. I don't have A-Ras on the field. I don't have Pillis. There was really, yeah, it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird that he put all of his energy into the Lionheart. And even my own stream chat, they were commentating on it. Obviously they congratulated me and all that, but it was like, he was like, huh, he definitely misplayed. The stun was very lucky here as well. Even though I do have evasion up, I also misplayed Milim because I soul burn right here, which is not good. You want to soul burn like one turn after because you want to be able to keep the evasion up. So I soul burned one turn too early, which was not good for me. It just shows my inexperience of using Milim. Because again, like I said, I have said before, I have lost to Landies with Milim, even my Milim on the team, because like Landy just gains so much tempo, and she doesn't trigger counterattacks. So unless your Milim is a speed and high DPS that can nuke out a regular DPS Landy, my kind of bruiser Milim, she's on lifesteal, it would not do anything really. Also evasion where I think he gets 2 hits in a row here, which was really it was really Monka-esque. Like I was very scared about this. And also I'm on the knuckle artifact, so she's supposed to have a 30% counter. She gets like 0 counters. She's been hit a lot and got 0 counters, which is unfortunate. The Dragon Buster with the lifesteal though was really good, as you can see. But if you could look at the, I misplayed Milim, right? So the soul burn, this one was just this fight was just a really weird one. I think when both of us were on edge, we definitely misplayed a lot. I got lucky here. I say that I win this based on his misplay and pure luck. He has Crimson Seed on the Aravi, and with Solitaria constantly doing debuffs, it is pretty unlucky on his side. The stun, not even Abyssal Crown, that was literally from her kit, was enough to keep him from using his S3. So the S3 did a lot of damage, but honestly, I think he would have won this fight. He definitely would have won this fight. My draft versus his team here. Alright, so last fight. 2-2. This one was definitely a butt clencher. Again, I was very until my int and lost to the Kisei fight. I was in a good mood, like I was in a positive mindset because Shogun had won his, and I knew Elvemage would clean up. So even if I lost, I did believe in my team. I believe that we would have won. But obviously for my own sake, I wanted to beat, right? I wanted to win. So obviously I'm not giving up. And with that, it definitely boosted my morale. This is really clutch, I have to say. Like I'm thinking back on this, I'm like, I couldn't even sleep. After the stream, it should have been my bedtime. I couldn't sleep. I was like super hyped. So I banned the Rimuru, he banned the Milim. So I think the Milim for him was like, it did too much. And I banned the Rimuru because, you know, I was done with this. Like his Rimuru had done enough work. He picked it every single game. You know, outside of the Pillis one, I think I go back to Alencia Ras here.
Are we gonna see an Alencia?
So right here, actually, I'll tell you this, for real. This is not me thinking back and just because it happened, it's easier for me to commentate on it. I was thinking of picking up the Landy. Okay, I was thinking of picking up the mitigation first, Ras. Again, we have kind of like the openers banned, and he doesn't really play Peyra. So I was like, okay, I'm pretty comfortable that he's gonna play at my speed, right? DN is banned, Amelia is banned at this point, C Lilies is banned. Most of the openers are banned. Taking the Emo Kaorik is a very strong play here for me. You know, I could go into LQC if I felt like I needed it, but actually I was trying to bait him to play Landy. I've been playing Landy most of this game, about actually 50-50. He played Landy in the last one, right? But now that he banned the Milim, he was really comfortable with the Landy. And I wanted to bait the Landy. Cause I had Alencia built just for his Landy. So Alencia is very strong into this meta right now, in my opinion. Like she's a very solid support damage pick. She'll do okay versus Aravi one-on-one, but just keep in mind that Aravi can, you know, injury her as well. So it's like, it's not as good because Aravi also heals more than Alencia. She heals on her damage and she heals while getting hit. Alencia doesn't have that reverse benefit. But Alencia is very strong here because we could strip FCC barrier, we could strip the Landy, and just for this fight, I actually put my Alencia on dZanderr so that if I have the chance, I can kill that Landy quick. Right? I didn't know how much damage his Landy did actually. I think it ended up being a pretty bruisery Landy. Like high bulk, like 14,000 HP if I remember correctly. So probably decent defense as well, like maybe 1200 or something. 14,000 HP, sorry, did I say 1400 HP? So anyway, so I kind of knew that it was bulky from the previous fight. So the dZanderr, again, like I said, before the tournament happened, I was swapping some artifacts. I even have I had a couple secret weapons. I had a Fire Lilius on the Bastion artifact, the barrier one, her own artifact actually, for this tournament as well. So I swapped a couple artifacts just for some sneaky plays, and I was really glad the Alencia got to make the play. Anyways, just keep that in mind. It was on dZanderr, so I can get the extra CR push, assuming the Landy did Death Penned, and then but anyways, so this one was really surprising, right? So the Rem is good into Charlotte to some degree. She has unhealable on the S2, so like Fire Charlotte generally on lifesteal. My Fire Charlotte is on Symbol of Unity, just in case I need to play against ice and, you know, hit dodge units. And it just does so much damage, right? So the lifesteal is really good. The Strays pick, in my opinion here, it was a good last pick on my end. It definitely felt like a force ban, because what I planned to do no matter what was ban the FCC, right? I had Alencia to do damage for Rem. I had Fire Charlotte to do damage to everyone else, and Fire Charlotte, if she gets Gale Wind, her S3, she has unhealable. So even though I knew that his A-Robbie was Crimson Seed, we had a couple ways to proc that Crimson Seed before I even do the Gale Wind. So that was my strategy. So even if he didn't ban the Strays, technically, theoretically, I should have been able to kill the A-Robbie in one shot, because I was going to ban the FCC no matter what. That was my thinking process for this one. It did end up working out. He banned the last pick, which is fine, because I felt like I had the better draft for this one, and then the FCC ban for sure, just in case he didn't ban the Strays. Now some people say that Rem will pop off, and yes, it will probably be very difficult to kill the Rem, because like, you know, once I killed the A-Robbie, she would have been in demon mode, and then like Alencia wouldn't do anything, you know. But I did have defense buffers and stuff like that, so we could have still did, so Rem into like heroes that don't always have to AoE, so like Alencia is not as strong, right? Because you could just target her. It's kind of like Indri Bellion. You could just keep targeting Bellion, and then she just dies and she doesn't do anything. So it's the same thought process for Rem. I don't like Rem into standard drafts. I hardly feel it's worth it unless they have multiple AoE and you have really good sustain, like you have a healer as well. So like if they go Bellion and I don't know what, like a Fire Charlotte or whatever, like you have two sources of constant AoE, I feel like Rem could be decent there. So this S3 100% to me was worth it, even if I triggered the Rem, which I didn't. At this point it would have been fine because I got the attack down on the Rem, which is really big before her demon mode. But basically I want to reveal the Landy.
But the counterattack once again, it's the AoE counterattack this time.
It is attack down, so the heal wasn't as big, which is really good. ML Coward gets a turn, which is perfect here, and it keeps myself safe from the death break, which I got very unlucky. So that was a bruisery Landy. Again, like I said, at the previous fight, I was keeping in mind his Landy was pretty good. If the Landy had been dead there, the Rem would have cleansed the attack buff and definitely like healed a lot more. But because my full team had defense buff, so even if I did kill the Landy, she'd probably still be at half HP. It just depended if the Alencia turn, the Rem would have countered, you know. So still some RNG on my end. Definitely with the Rem it was a big risk. This one, a lot of people saying that, oh, you should just S2 the Sirmia. Sirmia, like, I know her damage because I play Sirmia a lot. And because of, like, the amount of, like, defense buffs I had up, I had Aureus, like, there's no way that she does enough here. So I killed the Landy because the Landy had a first turn. If I dual attack A-Ras into like with a Charlotte doesn't guarantee a crit, right? Like until it's her turn when she does the AoE. So like if I didn't crit and then you know Lionheart had a was it resistance buff and I didn't defense break, I don't know if I killed, and then Landy would have gone and then Lionheart would have gone, and that would have been, I think, more risky for me. So anyways, I made the safer play. The damage on this actually paid off though. I actually made my Charlotte really high damage. And that was game. Oh, such a clutch match. And I made a mistake in one of my plays. He made a mistake in one of his plays. I think overall it was a pretty even match. I really enjoyed it. And of course, if you guys watched the actual tournament, Elvemage cleaned house, and we ended up taking the win. So again, very cool tournament to be in, to be a part of. It is my first tournament, so to get the win on it, I had to thank my team and their time that they invested into me, and it was just a really fun experience. So that was it for the tournament. We ended up winning. Elvemage cleaned up, and Shogun, you know, did his job. We clean sweeped the entire tournament, which is great. Again, like the training arc with Elvemage and Shogun, it was really good. It paid off. And obviously, like, big thanks to Smilegate and Epic 7 for like hosting the tournament. Honestly, when they got us to sign up, it didn't seem to be that big. They used like some Google form for the sign up. It felt like, you know, Google Forms are like whatever. It doesn't feel like as official, but who knew, right? They got us to take like the photos. They have like these crazy, like, you know, graphic overlays, transitions, and they made it into this huge thing too. So it was really cool to be a part of it. This being my first tournament I've actually ever joined in World Arena. You know, I wanted to put myself out there. I was like, hey man, let's do this, right? Let's try this out. It's about time, right? But it turned out to be a really good experience. Fart Pancakes and Moshu also did a really good job of just commentating, and honestly just took a lot of energy out of them, I think. But they did a really good job. They remained hyped. The banter between them was really good. So yeah, I think everyone, you know, for being able to do the event. And honestly, for me, the big win was just, you know, being able to just, you know, learn from the master, and to be able to execute. That was the surprising part for me. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video commentary, at least for the semifinals and the finals. Both of them will be on YouTube up to this point. But yeah, anyways, I will end the video recording here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.